I'll mute.
Hey, welcome to our New York Giants Preservation Society meeting for tonight, March 5th, with Eric Romo. Eric is a content creator, has his own YouTube channel, San Francisco Giants Sports Night Live. Great show. I listen to it very, very frequently, and I'll be listening to it more as the season progresses now. Just for your information, the next two meetings. This meeting starts our Giant spring training month. So the next two meetings will also have the San Francisco Giants um, in regard, but both meetings will be on Tuesdays. Just how the gentlemen were free on Tuesdays. Next week we have Roger Munter. Roger has been on the last 3 years. He is terrific with minor league, the Giants minor leagues. There Are Giants is his site. And then we have the great Marty Laurie, who will be on the following Tuesday. Marty has been following the Giants for years, has a brand new movie out about him, which I watched on Amazon. It's fabulous, Baseball Mensch. So that's what we have to look forward to. And then the following week, the Giants, open up against the Yankees. So the last time I was out there, the Yankees swept the Giants. It was regrettable. I had a great time, but a regrettable three-game sweep. So maybe the Giants could do better this time. Anyway, I'd like to introduce to the New York Giants Preservation Society, Eric Romo. Eric is going to talk about his podcast, or uh, his channel. Let's put it that way. And Eric is just not a guy who decided to do this as far as not knowing anybody. I mean, he has been prolific with appearing on Glenn Kuiper's show regularly and Marty Laurie really regularly, like every week.
Mhm.
So he's not just a guy off the street. He knows what he's talking about. So let's all give it up for Eric Romo. Eric, the floor
Hi,
is yours.
Gary. Thank you. Appreciate it. And also to the society, man. This is awesome. Be able to talk to like-minded people, the love of baseball. Steve, you're talking about, the history of the game and how there's so many different avenues you could go on talking about baseball. And this is something I love to do. Ever since I grew up in Tracy, California, which is only about an hour or so away from the Bay Area. And living in Tracy, half my family are either A's fans or Giants fans, and the same went for football as well with the Raiders and the Niners. And I happen to fall into the Giants side of things because of my dad. My dad was a huge Giants fan. He was a city umpire, so when I was a young lad, I was over there making sure his shoes were shined. He always had to make sure his shoes were shined every time. So he'd come back, and then I'd get the brush out, I'd dust them off, polish them up, and off he went and did his umpire stuff. So it was just I grew up in the love of baseball, and it just carried with me throughout my entire life. I joined the Air Force in '93. That kind of put a little cramp in things for a little bit, for the simple fact going all over the place. Focused on doing that duty, and where I really started getting into the broadcasting side of it, if you want to say. I returned back from Germany back in 2010, was finished out my career at Beale Air Force Base, and I put on KMBR, and lo and behold, I hear this guy Marty Lurie on the radio, and I was like, man, I resonate with this. It's just the way that Marty went about his business, and for those of you who've been able to listen to Marty on the radio, will understand what I'm saying here. It's just he would have a conversation with people. He didn't talk down to people. He understood. He heard people out. Now, granted, if he went out there and said something a little weird, he would say so. But he was respectful, and it was just having that conversation. And that is the absolute beauty that I love of this game of baseball. Is it's a game that you enjoy, but you can talk about it. And and ultimately, at the end of the day, for those of you who are rooting for the Giants, right, we may all have different ways of how we want the Giants to succeed, but ultimately, we're all Giants fans. So being able to be part of that conversation with Marty when I started, because at that time I started calling in on KMBR. Honestly, I did this for 10 years straight with Marty every weekend from from March all the way, sometimes into October, I'm sitting here talking to Marty every weekend, just talking baseball. Right? That was the title of his show, and I absolutely loved it. And then in 2021, I started getting more into the YouTube thing because I wasn't really big. I wasn't a really big social media guy. I just kind of just listened on the radio, followed the internet and all that stuff, and followed the game that way. But I never really, other than calling in on Marty's radio show, I really wasn't partaking into the new wave, or if you want to call the new media with YouTube, and you also got Twitch, and my gosh, there's a whole bunch of different platforms that you could go out there and talk about the things that you love. And in 2021, I started following. Matter of fact, one of the first guys I followed was Hum Baby, and he was one of the first Giants guys I was following. And I would interact in the chat. For those of you who don't know, it's similar to here, except you're just typing. It's all text. You can't see anybody. And it was just, again, having those conversations. And then Larry Krueger wound up creating his own YouTube show. So I went over there and started interacting over there. And that's how I got involved with Dan, Coach Emilio. And he wanted to do his own YouTube channel called NorCal Sports Network. And I became associated with him at that particular time. And, and everything I did, I'm learning on the fly. I never did any of this social media or YouTube stuff. So we're trying to figure it out, how to go live and interact with all the different things that you have to interact. You got to create thumbnails and again, it's just a way to kind of advertise on what the topic is going to be when you talk every night. And then eventually I moved on and I created my own YouTube channel with Glenn. Glenn's a fantastic guy. Me and him have been working hand in hand ever since the summer of 2024, late summer of 2024. Again, it's such a great working environment working with Glenn. And it's a good teamwork, right? We both have our strings and we have fun doing it. We're on there almost every night. Now, when the season starts, Gary, you're talking about it, right? Once the games start, soon as the game is end, and shortly thereafter, Giant Sports Talk Live is going to be live, and we're going to talk about the game. It's a 162 game post game show, and then of course during the off season we talk about off season stuff. But it's just been a love affair that I've had with baseball, and I absolutely love it. It's a great time. I get to talk to like-minded people, and I just want to hear what they have to say. And let's talk about it. And it sure as heck a lot better than talking politics. I tell you that. And granted, baseball can get a little bit heated. I mean, I tell you, there's conversations out there that sometimes absolutely get a little bit nuts as far as baseball talk. But at the end of the day, it's about rooting for our team and just having fun and coming on and having a place for people to come and talk about it. Because on radio, it's a little bit difficult because you just can't call in at any time. If you call in, you're going to get put on hold. You may get on, you may not get on. As far as YouTube is concerned, anybody can join. Anybody could go out there and put a comment in the chat. And if we see it and it's a good point, we'll bring it up. We'll talk about it. We'll do what we'll throw out the link. So if people want to come and join the show and actually have a conversation with us, we'll do that throughout the show. Occasionally, we'll have some guests come on and we'll hear what they have to say. But I tell you what, Gary, you kind of touched on it a little bit. Not only have I been able to, have my own channel here, but I've become associated with the likes of Marty Lurie and Glenn Kuiper. I mean, you want to talk about something that's really been a lot of fun. Glenn Kuiper, I've been helping him with his YouTube channel. Matter of fact, if you go take a look at his channel, the Friday Night Kipes, I put all that stuff together for him. He gives me the audio of what was recorded. It's all audio, but I'll put pictures to it and I'll do a little bit of other things. I mean, it was really nicely done, and it was a pleasure to be able to help Glenn Kuiper in that endeavor of his, and I think he's going to do it again this year. I don't know what type of format it's going to be, but it was fun. I absolutely enjoyed helping out Glenn, and look, and he was reaching out to me, which feels great because it feels like, hey, I'm able to go out there and do something and kind of know what the heck I'm talking about. At sometimes. And the same thing with Marty. He also reached out to me. And look, as It's been a wonderful friendship that I've had with these gentlemen. And look, I can't ask for anything better. Look, you couldn't tell me 5 years ago that I was going to be sitting here doing this type of stuff. I could not tell you. This was not on any of my future endeavors. So.
I think it's wonderful that they reach out to you. And, I neglected one guy who does not have his own show, but I know he speaks very highly of you, and he's on both of the shows, is Ron Wotus.
Oh, he's awesome. I got a chance to listen to him talk at last year. Marty has a little thing with Ron Wotus. It was in Yountville, up in wine country, and they had a great discussion. And oh my God, being able to hear Ron Wotus talk about baseball, because he gets into the nuts and the bolts, right? It's not just vague stuff. He gets into strategy, and this guy should be here and he should have done this and you want to talk about, Marty calls him the professor, and he calls him the professor for a reason. And during the offseason, man, I would have loved to see him get back in like a bench coach position, because again, the guy just has so much knowledge. But hey, maybe he just wants to be able to live the good life and not have to be on the road, 81 games out of the season. So maybe that was part of it.
So, Eric, your big workload is going to start now.
It is.
But basically, since the World Series ended up until spring training, I mean, I've spoken to you. We were all waiting for some moves, and just nothing happened.
Yeah.
It was.
No, absolutely.
How hard was it to do a show? Hey, maybe the next time we speak, the Giants will have made a deal, and it just really never turned out that way.
And Gary, sometimes it's on my own worst enemy, because I get so pumped up because I could see a path. Right? I was like, oh, if they just do this, we could be in a good position. And it kind of stinks when it doesn't happen. Okay, it doesn't happen. It's no skin off my teeth. It's not my money, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, it's hope springs eternal always in the off season, where you just like, okay, let's see what the Giants are going to do. We all know the Giants, financially they're well off. They're in a fantastic media market. They're the only game in town in the Bay Area. So you expected them to go out there and do something. And look, if we can talk a little bit of Giants here. The lineup, I absolutely love the lineup right now. The lineup has been absolutely fantastic. I have no issues with the lineup whatsoever. The pitching, on the other hand, that's something I think me and you, Gary, we've talked often. The pitching has got to be improved. Now, the rotation, and this is just me talking, I think the rotation's going to come out of the gates pretty good, because everybody's fresh. You're ready to go. You don't have all those innings on your arm. When you get into July and August and the dog days, well, then we'll see what the rotation is going to do. But I'm not too concerned. My biggest concern right now is that bullpen. And now we got two more injuries, according to what Alex Pavlovich was tweeting out yesterday. The hard-throwing Peguero, forgive me if I mispronounce his name.
Yeah,
he's the guy that can throw 100 miles an hour. The guy that one of the first pickups, Reaver San Martin, the lefty, looks like he's got a hip flexor issue going on. He had to get out of the WBC. And the bullpen is already a little bit light. Ryan Walker, right now, it looks like he's going to be the closer, and we all saw what he did last year. So that's one issue that I'm concerned with the Giants, because once you get into that 7th to 9th inning, how are the Giants going to get it through? How are they going to finish strong if it's close? Whether you're a couple of runs ahead or a couple of runs behind, who's going to be that guy that's going to lead the Giants? Because I think the Giants are going to score more runs because of the better lineup. But run prevention, that's something that just has me a little bit concerned.
Scary part is most of the guys we were counting on in the bullpen, so to speak, are all you were just hoping for them to be good, and
Yes.
that hope is not. I know hope is a spring thing, but these names, I'm sorry, they're just
It's tough.
no.
It's tough because you got some
three of our supposedly really good young pitchers who everybody said, hey, they're going to be important. They look terrible. Wisenhunt, Birdsong, and Tidwell. I mean,
yeah.
and
then yesterday Seymour didn't do much either. Seymour gave up 3 runs yesterday.
Think he's I don't know. Anyway, why don't we open it up for questions, and then we'll get back to you.
Sure.
Steve, go ahead.
The picture that's over your left shoulder, the Mays picture, is that actually signed?
Actually signed by him. Yep. It
Yes.
is.
And the
Yeah.
second question, is this your livelihood now? Is this your job,
You
full-time
know,
job?
I don't call it a job. I don't want to call it, because if I call it a job, it's going to make me mad. It's honestly, it's I love doing this. It's absolutely fantastic. I consider this as more as a hobby more than just my line of work. I'm retired from the Air Force, so I'm doing okay. I'm
Good
not
for you.
too I'm okay that way. But as far as this, when I'm putting together a show, I am having fun. I'll put up thumbnails, and again, it kind of tells the story of the topic I'm going to be talking about. I'll make some short videos. As a matter of fact, I need to do this a little bit more. I made a little bit of and I think Gary, you saw it on a live stream I did about a week ago, where it was a little short history on Alex Pompez. And I absolutely had it's just fun because I love reading about this stuff, because you talked about it, Steve, the stories. There's so many stories. I mean, it's amazing. Look, you can never know everything. You can't. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people out there that try, but my gosh, I mean, it's incredible. And there's some good stories, there's some bad stories, but it's so much fun, and I enjoy just being able to be part of this. It's fun.
Well, just to add on one more thing. Gary played very short time in 21 and 22, and the Yankees wanted to use him in the World Series, and McGraw said no. I mean, I don't think a lot of people know that one. Then, and of course, in 23, it didn't matter. Just to get back on the season, Gary and I have for the last couple of years. I mean, Gary watches every pitch,
Mhm.
3 in the morning. I think Harvey does the same thing. But if Logan Webb throws the first pitch to the Yankees and it's ball one, the season is over.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. It gets that way so bad. I talked about this on the show last night. Every game is going to be under a microscope, and everyone's going to say, "You see, we should have traded Webb, or we should have done this." And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa! Let's back the truck up a little bit." Yes, in the individual game, we could talk about the warts and the goods and the bads, but then, and this is the beauty of baseball, you could spread it out. Okay, what did this player do, specifically the position player, over a week? What did he do over a month, over 2 months, over the course of the entire baseball season? You got to, and that's the problem. Well, I don't want to say problem, but it
It's a
kind of is.
marathon. It's a marathon.
It is, and it's every day. This isn't just once a week. You could kind of flush it off, and every day where it's another baseball game, and it's
Well,
another
to sound
story.
excited, then let's see what you look like July 1st. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for coming on.
you.
Steve, you mentioned that it's over. I remember in 2010 when it might have been the first batter, Elvis Andrews. I think he hit one back. It might have been him or third bat, whatever, and they hit it back to Lincecum, and he didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember
It's
that.
over. They're not going to win this. So,
Yeah.
Norm, you're up.
Hey, Eric, great to see you. First of all, you guys probably expect me to balk when someone says the Giants did nothing over the winter. And we got 2 serviceable starters,
Yeah.
and we got a Gold Glove center fielder,
Mhm.
and we got a 3-time batting champion who was underrated at second base.
I agree.
My question for you is, do you have any inside information in terms of our underrated second baseman? I'm very upset that he's playing in the World Baseball Classic. I want him to be with Ron Washington every day. Is there any inside information about whether the Giants balked at him going?
That's a great question. I haven't heard anything about the Giants having issues with. All right, I know he was working in the offseason really hard on second base. Who he's working with, I'm not sure. I think he mentioned it before on who he's working with. I know Ron Woda said he saw a lot of film of him in during the offseason, and he was pretty pleasantly surprised on how well he was doing in second base. But yeah, I haven't heard anything about the organization. I do know that the organization really didn't want Logan Webb to do it, but they let him make his own decision. And I think he had an interview on Foul Territory, right, last week, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and said, yeah, he should be fine. He's only going to be pitching 2 games, and I don't think they're going to be stretching him out or anything like that. And I'll tell you what, over his last 2 innings, it looks like he was preparing for this, because his 2 outings in spring training were pretty damn fantastic. So but yeah, I agree with you, Norm, because I think Arias should have stuck with Ron Washington because look, only good things can come with someone being able to work with Ron Washington because the guy is a infield whisperer, right? He makes people into Gold Glove caliber type players. Not saying that's what's going to happen, but I guarantee you that Arias is going to be that much better being under the tutelage of a Ron Washington. And look, he's doing the same thing with Devers and Eldridge at first base. I'm sure he's probably working with the guys over on the left side of the infield as far as Adames and Chapman as well. And I love the Ron Washington pickup. And I don't disagree with you, Norm, as far as the Bader and Arias and Malley and Hauser, they're okay. For me, for the rotation, I wanted that one guy because my reasoning is Robbie Ray more than likely is probably going to be gone next year. And you're going to have someone who's going to fill that number 2 position next year. For me, and I could be totally wrong, I don't see in the farm system the future Lincecum, Bumgarner, Matt Cain. I just don't see those guys right now. Maybe they will emerge here this year, next year. I don't know. We'll see. But that's the one thing that I wanted the Giants to do was to go out there and get one of them big time starters. I mean, and look, we'll see what happens. You know, Buster Posey to this point hasn't shown any what do you want to say? Lack of desire of not wanting to win or trying to do it on a cheap. I mean, look, Hauser was a decent arm. Before, you know, when he got traded, he not so much. Malley, he's great when he's on the field. And that's my issue is and that's why I said coming out of the gate, I think you're going to be good. But is that shoulder going to start rearing its ugly head? Because I don't think he had a procedure done on it. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to work out for the Giants as far as the rotation into pitching.
And do you think Tidwell, you really judge him after 2 bad appearances?
Nah, I'm not going to do that. Look who he went up against, right? He went up against the all-time greatest baseball team, right, at this particular time with the World Baseball Classic. So I'm not gonna judge him too much. Supposedly he's got a hell of a slider or sweeper. I don't know what they call it anymore, and he's got a lively fastball. Let's see what happens. I wanted to see him last year. And then his shoulder started cranking up on him a little bit, but he's healthy. He's a big guy, and that's the thing I like because as a starting pitcher, you want a guy that's durable and can last the season. But I think we can't make any judgments on any of these guys, really, not quite yet. The thing I don't like doing, and I try not to do this, and hopefully I don't do it too much, is overhyping some of these guys. I don't like to overhype Eldridge, or I don't want to overhype the upcoming guys of Josuar Gonzalez and Luis Hernandez. Those guys look like they could be something too. But I don't want to do that because I think you're putting unfair expectations on the kids when they haven't even really done it. When you're in the minor leagues, I get it. You got to perform 100%. But once you make that jump to the big leagues, man, how many times have we seen that? Especially, let's just talk about the Giants, right? Christian Arroyo, the guy was batting almost 400 in the Sacramento. They brought him up, didn't do a whole lot. Joey Bart, right, was touted. Luciano, Matos to a certain extent was hyped up. Gary Brown, remember the outfielder?
Brown, yep.
Yeah, I mean they're pitchers. Kyle Crick, Tyler Beatty. I just want to say, okay, you got to show something in the minor leagues, but once you get to the big leagues, all right, let's see what you can do. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time for them to actually show what they got. So again, just let's see what happens. The Giants are in a good spot financially. So, I mean, if they do want to go out there and get a little bit crazy next year, they can. It's all up to them, but we'll see what happens. To be honest with you, I don't even want to talk about next year because that is going to be a mess as far as for baseball fans are concerned. I don't even know what kind of show we're going to put on when it's Giant Sports Talk Live Lockout Edition, I guess. I don't know. It's going to be something like that.
One last question. Are you going to cover any games from the ballpark this year?
We're going to try. My buddy Glenn, because he travels back and forth between Canada and San Francisco. He literally lives 2 blocks away from the ballpark. So he's going to try to go live from the ballpark a couple of times and have some fun. And then there's going to be other times. We got a nice sponsor, Tommy's Mexican Restaurant over on Geary Street. we're gonna have a meet and greet over there. As a matter of fact, on March 14th, and we'll probably do some post game shows from there as well. So should be a lot of fun. Glenn, he loves to go out on the street, and we did this in opening day last year. If you go take a look at some of our past live streams of last year, we'll just interview people on the street and hear what they have to say. It's fun. It's good times.
You said that was Tommy's Mexican restaurant?
Yeah, Tommy's Mexican restaurant.
I'm gonna try to get out there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to meet you. Look, it's going to be free drinks, free food. So, hey, can't pass that up, right?
Okay, thanks.
What date is that?
March 14th. What is that? I think that's going to be on a
It's
Tuesday.
a Saturday.
No, Saturday. Sorry.
Saturday.
Yep.
Okay, let's go, Norm. I'll meet you there.
Okay, you got it.
Let's do it. Yeah. God, that'd be great to see you guys. Absolutely.
Eric, you mentioned you're leery of people being overhyped.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was watching last year, and Birdsong was great out of the pen, and then everybody was talking about future Cy Young Award. That's what the media was saying. When Wisenhunt, he's untradeable. He's going to be, a terrific starter. Now they're hoping they're going to be back end starters. I don't get it.
Yeah, I hear you. And look, and it's funny
Very disappointing.
When I'm critical, look, I'm not personally attacking these people. It's baseball, so we have to talk about. Sometimes you got to talk about bad things, and Birdsong, I was so high. I know, Gary, I don't know if you were watching last year. I was high on Birdsong. I had him over Roop as far as being more effective, and I wanted to see him win that starting rotation position coming out of spring training, and they wind up making Birdsong in the bullpen, and Roop got into the rotation because he's got the stuff. Everybody says it. He's got the stuff. He's got a fastball. He's got a changeup, a curveball, but he can't command it. And it's funny because I called in a couple of weeks ago to Bill Lasky talking about Birdsong. I mean, and here's the thing, and it's hard because you can't get into people's heads because that would be unfair to really do that. But that being said, I think there's something going on between the ears with him. And how many times have we said that baseball is a mental game? It's a grind. Steve, you talked about being a marathon. You got to do that every single day. And some people, right? They may have the stuff, but they can't do it. That's why it's so hard to be a major leaguer. I brought up the comparisons. Remember Jonathan Sanchez? The guy had amazing stuff from the left side, had a no-hitter, but the guy just could not command the zone. He would start losing it, walking people, and then it winds up costing the team. And it's tough because you want to see these kids succeed because the Giants need them to succeed because there's no one out where's the cavalry if one of these rotational arms go down. God forbid, knock on wood, if Ray or Webb go down for any significant time, the Giants are going to be they're going to be up a creek, as they say. And who's going to be the next man up? And I know that you got to do that. You got to figure out who is going to do it. But at this particular time, I have not been impressed with Birdsong this spring. Now, granted, we still got 3 weeks of spring training, but let's see where this goes.
Mars, you're up.
Oh, well, for that, when is that? What time is that meeting at Tommy's? Isn't that the Mexican restaurant in the Richmond district?
Yes, it is. On Gary, yep, the one in the Richmond district. At the world famous Tommy Margarita is what I guess that place is known for. So Julio, who is I guess he's like the top North American tequila judge. This is his place, so he's going to be there, and it should be a lot of fun. And it's going to be from 3 to 7.
So what time do I meet Julio at the schoolyard?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Okay, I'll try to make that. Thank you.
That'd be awesome. I'd look forward to seeing you. I'd love to interact with the people. It's fun.
Cool.
It's already on my calendar, Eric.
Right on. I hope to see you there.
Eric, listen, you're a huge fan. I think if I asked you right now, you would be able to tell me the 13 positional players who will probably make the team. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I ask you the 13 pitchers, I think you would have a real rough time naming 5 or 6 right now. It's really we were hoping some of these guys would make out of the pen. Now some of them are hurt. very difficult to really know what's going on with their pitching staff.
It's tough. The rotation, we all know what the five is, right? Webb, Ray, Hauser, Malley, Roop. The last three, of course, they could be anywhere between 3 and 5. The bullpen. Hey, we might as well just freaking throw a bunch of piece of paper in the air, and then wherever they fall, that's who. And you pick up a name out of the hat. That's kind of where they're at right now. Ryan Walker sounds like he's going to be the closer. It's going to be his job to lose, which he lost, I think, 2 or 3 times last year. Buto will probably be there. Brubaker will probably be there. Bivens probably your long man. And then after that, your lefties, right? Hinches, the guy that they signed, he ain't going to start the season because he's still recovering from surgery. Reaver San Martin, it looks like he's not going to start the season on the roster because of that hip flexor. Now you got Eric Miller, who's got a lower back problem right now, so I don't know where he's going to be. We still got 3 weeks. Matt Gage is your only lefty out there that you can kind of rely on. And is Wisenhunt going to be in the bullpen? The bullpen has me concerned because it would suck, right? If opening day, March 25th against the Yankees, Giants are up 4-2. And then you come out you get into the 7th inning, and then what, does it fall apart? Can they hold it? Oh, I tell you that's the one issue that I have the biggest concern about the club.
What's funny about that is that me and Steve had this inside joke, and we knew one year, and I believe the opening game, Madison Bumgarner hit 2 home runs, and then Steve's guy, the historian, came in, Mark Melanson, and once he blew the game, we knew he was done with the Giants.
Why don't you tell him why he's the historian? Tell him why he's the. It's good.
The New York Giants Preservation Society. I got a call from Mark Melanson's agent, and Melanson wanted to learn more about the history of the Giants.
Oh,
so he met us at the Polo Ground site. A very nice guy, but he was just abysmal as the Giant closer.
The historian.
How about that?
He was really a nice guy. He just couldn't pitch.
And supposedly he had an arm issue, right? I think his arm almost died. I think I remember reading something about that. He had to get some procedure done. He had no circulation in his arm or something. I mean, yeah. And that was the season. Now let's not forget that was the season after of that horrible 26 Game 4. Remember, the Giants had no closer. Bochy went to the bullpen, I think, 6 times to get 1 out. Couldn't get it done. The DS was over. And then in the offseason, what did they do? They weren't going to get Chapman because of the abuse issues. I can't remember who the other closer was. And then Melanson was like the 3rd one, and the Giants I think
it was Kenley Jensen.
It was Kenley Jensen. I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's might have who it had been.
Norm, was that the game he blew with the Madison Bumgarner 2 home runs?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Studying history.
Well, that's the problem with turning it into a bullpen game when starters no longer could go the distance.
Oh my gosh, that's something we've talked about occasionally on the show. I mean, and you look, I love the way the game has been played. For me, I say this all the time. It's the game of baseball. It's not home run derby. Everyone talks about home runs. It's like, come on. How many times last year did the Giants lose because there was a guy sitting on second base, less than 2 outs, and they struck out? And it's like, come on, just put the ball in play, score some runs, and look, maybe they could have pulled out a couple of more wins. It's the same thing with pitching. I want to see a starting pitcher just go to distance, and then you bring in your bullpen and you shut it down. But it's all about this max effort. And it's like, it's okay to go out there and have some command and place the ball where you want it and make guys miss balls, not necessarily with a strikeout, but hey, maybe they hit it on the wrong part of the bat and you induce a ground ball or make them hit it into the defense. And I'm okay with that. You don't have to come out here and always throw, mid to high 90s. And then here comes the bullpen, right? High 90s to 100. And I get it. That's just the way the game is right now. And I understand it in the bullpen. But man, I want to see a I want to see a pitcher go out there and just command the game with his brilliance.
Well, a
And
friend of mine sent me a message about the Giants' new manager is thinking of employing the hit and run again now that you have Araz and Lee batting first and second. That means that Lee has to be totally retrained after he got his head swelled up by hitting home runs in Yankee Stadium. He has to go back to placing the ball, drawing walks, and bunting. And then you have to, it's not going to be easy, but baseball on the whole has to be retrained where starters could go the distance. And, I'm sick and tired of the bullpen game. I'm sick and tired of the launch angle and,
yeah,
all this other crap that's destroyed the game.
yeah, and I'm on there to a certain extent, right? Analytics, there's nothing wrong with information. I'm all about the information. But my gosh, if I see a frozen rope hitting out into the outfield, I know that he hit the ball hard. I don't need to know the exit velocity. I don't need to know the launch angle of it. It went over the fence. It's a home run. Fantastic. I don't need to know the launch angle. I just don't. I don't care about the spin rate. And look, I get it. People care about spin rate because it tells you, how aggressive the ball is going to move. But I don't care. As a fan, I know that, boy, he put some spin on that ball. Or yes, he threw that ball pretty damn hard. You can see we have eyes, right?
Here's what the launch angle and the exit velocity meant to me. The exit velocity is how fast I can get out of the freaking park. The launch angle is when I call it the lunch angle. How quick can I get a pastrami sandwich?
Oh my God.
Oh, now that's good. But yeah, and then again, that's just me, and I'm a little bit of a throwback because because I read about these games in the past, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, the stories that they tell with their gameplay is just, it's like, man, that is something. I like that. And it's funny how the Giants are kind of going back, if you want to say, because someone on the show said, hey, their new coaches are playing some youth baseball or something to that effect. And I'm like, well, it's not really new. It's it's old, and it's worked.
But here's a major problem. Baseball is the only sport, and I know I've said this countless times, without a salary cap. So basically, when the Giants and Cardinals kept on winning pennants and going to the World Series, they employed the farm system more than most things. Then they got some free agents, like guys like Cody Ross, the second baseman that they got, the scooter from the Pirates, the shortstop they got. You got guys that played a key role in Hunter Pence. You got guys that, like might have been a little bit over the hill, but that came through. Then, of course, that was the time when Bochy could have a relief pitcher pitch one pitch and then bring in another guy. Well, that's all done with now. So basically, the salary cap is what's really killing baseball, because the Dodgers with Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Ohtani, the latest Japanese pitcher that did very well in the World Series, they're buying championships. They're buying. Now, occasionally that may not work. Occasionally a team that relies on the farm system could come into play. But when you look at the other major league sports, small market teams are in the championship. The Thunder in the NBA, the Golden Knights in hockey, let's see, the NFL. You don't have the big market teams in there every year because they have a salary cap.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to be talking about in 2027. There's going to be work stoppage because of it too. There's no doubt about it. And it's going to be contentious, and and the problem is, right, all of us here as fans, we're the ones that are going to pay, because we're not going to be able to enjoy the best game that we enjoy to watch, and it's going to suck for us.
Absolutely true. But the thing is, the owners have to say, oh, screw it. Hold out.
Yeah, that's what
these guys will eventually come back if the owners hold out long enough.
Yeah, it may happen. And to your point, Mars, and this is something I talked about too. You talk about how the Giants were able to have all that success. My God, look what Sabian was able to do. I mean, the guy was an absolute, I think Bochy said he is an architect. Absolutely. Because you got to be able to do three things to have long-term success. You got to be able to draft well, you got to be able to hit on free agents, and you got to be able to hit on trades. If you could do all three of those in a what do you want to say? At a high level, you're going to have success. And that's what the Giants were able to do, right? The farm system with you had Kane, Lincecum, Bumgarner, you had Sergio Romo, Brian Wilson, Pablo Sandoval,
Buster.
and then you Buster Posey, of course, and then of course then you had other guys that you went out there, whether it's free agents or a trades. You talked about Hunter Pence. We had Angel Pagan, he was fantastic. You had Edgar Renteria, Jose Uribe, Freddie Sanchez, Marco Scudero, Aubrey Huff for 2010, Pat the Bat in 2010. I mean, you're able to not only have that core, so to speak, of your farm, but then you're able to get some pieces to make it an all-around team, and the Giants were able to do that. And if you could do that,
right.
man, we're good.
That's right. And that's when old man Steinbrenner passed away at the time when he was buying the top free agents. Hal Steinbrenner, of course, his son, was a little bit more financially responsible, and he built back the Yankees farm system. Although I hate the Yankees, it proved successful.
Yep.
Fred, you're up, Ed. And go ahead.
Wonder more of a simple question. Where do we plan to finish, do you think, in the division? Tough question.
Third or fourth. That's where I'm. Again, this is just on paper. You got to play the games. Third or fourth. I've been saying for a while that I think they're an 81 to 82 win team right now. Now, granted, this is just pure speculation because once games are being played, you never know what can happen. No one in 2021 was going to say they're going to win 107, right? But as far as where they're at, I know they're going to score some more runs, I think, by the construction of the roster. But as far as the pitching, I think they're going to give up more. And I think they're going to sit around, they're going to be right around 500. And I hope I'm wrong. Honestly, I hope I'm wrong.
I agree.
I don't think you want to be around Norm if Norm comes to your party there at Tommy's, because he's not going to be liking that answer.
Well, I'm just thinking that I think we're going to have better defense this year, and that will help the pitching. It very well might help the bullpen. And I think that some of our starters will pitch a little bit longer, which means our bullpen won't be relied upon as much.
And you know what? If they do that, Norm, and that's something that's happened over the last couple of seasons, right? The bullpen has kind of been blown up over the last couple of seasons. So once you get into those late, because that's what happened last year, because the Giants had a hell of a run. And then when they traded away Tyler Rogers and Camilo Doval, now Doval was, he was hit and miss. But once you got rid of those guys and the bullpen was a little bit susceptible, that's where the Giants really started losing games and they fell out of the wild card race. But I agree, if they could go deep, and look, I'm not saying that they want to. We'll just have to wait and see. If they could sit there and do what they got to do, then yes, they're going to play much better than 500 baseball.
Well, that goes back
Norm,
to
I want because I'm an optimist, but man, I don't want to get fooled again.
All right, I got two questions for you, Eric. Your sleeper positional player and your sleeper pitcher.
Ooh, sleeper positional. You know who I like, and I really liked him last year, man. I like Christian Koss, man. I would love to see him play a little bit more. The guy has a heck of a glove, and he gives a good at bat. He doesn't try to kill it. He'll go put the ball in play, and he seems like a hard-nosed player. I like Christian Koss. Now, he'll probably be a bench player, which is, I guess that's fine, because, you got Arias and you got Adames. But I like Christian Koss. As far as a pitcher is concerned, for a starting pitcher, let's go Landon Roop. I want to see what he's going to do. I don't know if you want to call him a sleeper because he had the potential last year and his elbow got a little bit cranky. But I like Landon Roop. The guy seems like he's got the mental fortitude and he's got the stuff. So I'm looking forward to watching Landon take the ball.
If Koss makes the team, and I'm assuming Schmidt makes the team.
Mhm.
Then you have only one extra outfielder.
That's it.
So is that Gilbert or Matos?
I'm going to say Matos. And for the reason is he's going to still have to show it in spring training, right? If he continues to do what he's doing, I think he's going to be, because again, he has no options. Gilbert has options. So if you have options, guess what? You're going on to Sacramento. And if you think about it, the Giants are kind of in a good position as far as the pitching is concerned, because you have no pitchers who have to get waived at the end of spring training. They could go to Sacramento or they could be on the team, and that's fine. Another pitcher that I like, and let me go back to this, Michael Fulmer. I like what I've seen out of him. He's not an overpowering guy, but he's going to get you with his stuff, and he's a veteran. So he may, to be honest with you, he might be in the bullpen now, considering with what these injuries, he might be.
I think him and Santos are going to be in the bullpen because of what's gone on.
Yeah, Santos might be, and that's another guy. He was great with the Giant. They trade him off, and then he had some success in Chicago. So let's see what he can do here with his second stint with the San Francisco. But yeah, Michael Fulmer is another guy. We'll see what he does. But I think it's going to be Matos. That Will Brennan. We'll see. Again, he's on a major league contract, but he has options, so he could go to Sacramento. So the Giants are in a good spot that way. So they're going to, hey, Matos, and I say this on the show, he's got to grab the bull by the horns, because if he doesn't, then his time as a Giant will be done.
What about
Matos
Encarnacion?
Oh man, he's got that bat, but I don't know if he's gonna make it. His springs thus far has
I don't
not
think we
been
have options
very
on him either.
No options. He's probably gonna be one of them is probably gonna be gone. Matos or Encarnacion, and I would say at this particular time it would be Encarnacion, unless, and this is an option, if they decide to do a trade somewhere, maybe Matos is gonna be one of those guys that are going to get traded so they could get something in return, maybe a bullpen arm, who knows. But yeah, so one of those, I don't think neither of them are going to both be on the team. It's going to be one or the other. And right now, I'm going to say Matos.
Before I go to Steve, who's your backup catcher?
Susak. Daniel Susak. He's a Rule 5 draft. You don't want to have to give him back up, and he seemed to have a decent spring, so I think it's going to be Daniel Susak.
Go ahead, Steve.
This is such a fresh breath from Eric. Not used to this. If Dan Taylor is still on, what do you say about all of this?
Who is this? I missed something.
Taylor,
It's Eric. It's Eric's show. You don't want to hear from me, Steve. We can talk
Okay, I
later.
figured that. Okay.
Matos can only play on Passover anyway.
Oh, God.
Be a bad one. Sorry.
I'd like to hear from Michael, Berlin, and Frank. What did you guys love the Giants? You have any good questions or thoughts?
As I'm listening, I said it last year. The games we lost in the ninth inning, I was dying. In Los Angeles, I have to take this insult. I get to the ninth inning, and I told this group, I thought of you guys thinking, am I the only one suffering in this world watching this happen? It kills me, but here's sort of the question I was just thinking about, which is, there seem to be so many good bullpen guys moving around. Why didn't we grab one? We got money. We got a good pitching ballpark. There's so many good guys. We have in my fantasy league holds as well as saves. And there are guys that have 20, 30 holds. And I'm thinking, why aren't we getting these guys?
Yeah, that's great, because we're doing a fantasy baseball as well. We're doing points, so that's a little bit weird, but it's a lot of fun. But to your point, that was one of the things. I thought the Giants were going to go out there and get some bullpen help for that simple reason. Right? I mean, Buster Posey was behind the plate in 2016. He saw what Bruce Bochy had to do to try to get that win in Game 4, and it didn't work out. He saw how the reason why he's got 3 rings, he's one of the reasons, but that bullpen was absolutely incredible. And like you said, there were so many arms. Did you have to go and get I would have loved to go and get a closer, and there were some closers that signed for some deals that weren't too crazy. It wasn't, not all of them were like Edwin Diaz. Heck, you had I would have been okay with the old guy now, Kenley
Aaron
Jansen,
Rodgers.
right? Kenley Jansen would have been fine to close it out. At least he's got experience out there. Raciel Iglesias, that was a guy the Braves, they were smart and said, oh, we want you back. And they were smart in getting him early. But yeah, that was something I was surprised at the Giants. And they went out there and I don't mean to disparage Buster Posey, but it was very Farhanian of him to go out there and sign Sam Hinches and Jason Foley when these guys are recovering from Tommy John and knee surgeries. And it's like, come on, there's other guys out there that are healthy. Yes, I get it. You're getting them on the cheap, and the upside could be through the roof. But that's burnt the Giants over these last few years. I mean, we saw what Farhan did. He signed so many 3-year contracts, and I don't think any of them lasted past 2 years. For that simple reason, you're trying to build it on a budget, so to speak, and I get it. But come on, there was other options out there. I think they could have gone and fortified that bullpen, because it does a disservice to Tony Vitello, because he's a brand new manager. You want to give him every opportunity to go out there and be able to get these wins. And I don't know if that's, as far as the bullpen is concerned, I don't know if they gave him enough, because that's the thing. As a manager now, that's like your biggest deal is, who do you go to when you have to pull your starter? And what are the options that he has?
The other thing, very quickly, but two things. One, you said, well, they're a 500 team, 81 and 81. I thought of the 4 or 5 games that we gave up in the 9th inning, and that's the difference between a playoff spot and the other. The second thing is, they should get Junior Gilliam's tape hitting number 2 in the batting order. That's how it used to be done, old school, behind Maury Wills. That's how you score. You hit smart.
Yes, there you go. Hit the ball when it's pitched.
I say this as a lifelong Giant fan. There's something to learn from the Dodgers.
It is. And look, and that's something that I loved. I don't know if you've been able to see. Well, you can't really see because it's been mostly on the radio. But from what I've heard, and yesterday's game, Matt Chapman, he's not trying to kill the ball. It looks like he's just trying to put the ball in play. Yesterday, when he went to right field, if you watch that approach, he was going where the pitch was thrown. And you got to do that. If you're trying to pull a ball and they're pitching you outside, what do you think's going to happen? And yeah, come on. Let's just put the ball in play, and amazing things can happen, right?
I know spring is not, like we said about the pitchers.
Right.
That being said, and he strikes out too much. Mm-hmm. But the one at bat last night that I saw of Eldridge going to left field was really impressive to me.
That was nice.
That looked like a beautiful swing. Went the other way. I'm hoping that's something that is something we'll be seeing, because I think he's on the team this year.
Yeah. Look, and I said it like, hey, and I'm perfectly fine if he went to Sacramento. He's 21 years old. He's a young guy. But if he's showing something in the spring, hey, okay, put him on the team then. Let's see what happens. Now, for me, again, I'm not one at bat is not going to convince me, right? So remember Brett Pill? Who was the other? There was a Korean guy that they signed in spring training back in, I think, 2017, 18, somewhere around there. The guy was killing the ball in spring training. He made the roster, and I think he lasted 2 weeks, and he was off the team. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get too. But it was nice to see him take that approach.
When you get a chance, and Dan knows this guy, look up Randy Elliott. Okay?
Randy Elliott. Okay.
Please. He hit like 700 in spring training. Made the team. And here in New York, we're seeing all this stuff, and we don't see him on the TV. Uh-huh. And I mentioned I thought we had Al Bumbry on our team. That's how often he was on base. And then I got to see him. He was this lead-footed left fielder who couldn't move. And the hot spring turned into, the hot spring, and that was about it. So
yep,
that's like Zeke Benora and Clint Hartung.
Arlo Engel.
Incredible spring training or minor league hitters that couldn't hit a lick in the majors.
Harvey, you had a question?
All the time.
Harvey?
Well, I had a tongue-in-cheek question for Eric. Eric, you used the phrase overhyped.
Mm-hmm.
in your broadcast career, what's the difference between hyped and overhyped?
Oh, well, there. Okay, hype. I get it. You're excited about this kid, whoever it may be, whether it's a pitcher or a position player, and because they got the tangibles, right? They might have the stuff, they might have the tools, and it's like, okay, we're hyped about this kid. Maybe he's going to show some. Overhyped is when you put a little bit on. Man, I'm hearing people 40 home runs for Bryce Eldridge, and all this kind of jazz, and I'm like, come on, let the guy has had a cup of coffee in the major leagues. He hit the ball hard a couple of times in his 2 weeks, and and again, it's the major leagues, and that's where I get a little bit cautious because that jump from AAA to the major leagues is huge. It's not like it is with the NBA or NFL, where if you were in college and then you can immediately start playing in those leagues, you can and be effective. The major leagues, not so much. And I just don't like where these guys are they act like it's like this guy is going to be the next Barry Bonds and MVP and all this other stuff. And I'm like, man, let's just temper expectations. And if he goes out there and he takes care of business, all right, let's be there and we cheer him on. I just don't like.
Andy Baggerly wrote an article in The Athletic. I saw it today. I don't know if it was published yesterday. He interviewed Aaron Judge,
Mm-hmm.
and Aaron Judge was effusive in his praise. There's a word, effusive, in his praise of Eldridge.
Mm-hmm.
And not just because he's over. Eldridge grew a little bit over 6'7", if you could believe it, according to the article.
Mm.
But Aaron Judge said, in his opinion, Judge's opinion, Eldridge is going to be a foundational player for the Giants for many years.
Okay, well, just see. I mean, it's Aaron Judge. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a player and he's entitled to his opinion. I'm not going to sit there and say it's not. And look, he's similar in height. I mean, of course, their build is much different. I mean, Judge is an absolute monster. I got a chance to see him play in Sacramento last year. I mean, the guy's amazing.
I think he's 280 pounds.
Right. Now, Eldridge is a little bit different. He's lanky. He's got a lot of limbs. And we'll see how it translates, man. I'm excited. Let's see what the kid can do. But let's see what the bat says.
I was impressed with Judge's opinion. I was happy with Judge's opinion.
And look, that bodes well for the Giants. There's no doubt about it. Because when's the last time the Giants have had someone like Bryce Eldridge? And we'll see how it's
Barry Bonds.
Yeah. Huh? Right.
Paul, you're up. Paul.
Let's see what happens.
Totally different physiques.
Paul, go ahead, Paul.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, Eric. I have one brief comment and then two short questions. One is, I managed to watch the other day and Eldridge completed a really sweet double play.
He did.
And I thought that was really cool. And there's another guy also that I see once in a while, and I guess he's had a really good summer. Is it Barracato?
Barracato, yeah. I think
I would just wondered if you might want to comment on him. And then the other thing was, what difference do you think the new manager is going to make? What do you see going on there?
All right, cool. Let's talk about Barracuda. I remember when he was in High A Eugene, people were really talking highly about him. He's supposed to be really good, a future outfielder for the Giants. He got promoted to Double A, and I think he was struggling a little bit in Double A, but he's been having a nice spring. And look, the Giants, you may need an outfielder here in the next couple of years because Jung-Hoo Lee is probably going to move on. Harrison Bader, we don't know what the situation with Harrison Bader is going to be. So yeah, I mean, the Giants, they got also the other kid, Bo Davidson. He's over in Richmond. That's another guy that you want to keep an eye on. I know Marty Lurie was pretty high on him. He's pretty toolsy, as they say. The Dakota Johnson, he's another guy. I think he's in High A. But that Barracuda, yeah, it's been nice to see him. He's taking care of business right now in spring training. And, he's doing everything you want to see from a future prospect for the Giants, or I should say a prospect for the Giants in spring training. Because, hey, maybe down the road, if there's an injury, maybe he's going to be the first man they call up if there's something going on with the outfield. So, yeah, it's fun to watch. And that's the beauty of spring training too, right? You get to see these young guys who are the guys that are hungry for it and are going to go out there and actually be able to perform and say, hey, keep an eye on me. I could be of service for the big club. So it's fun to watch these guys. Tony Vitello, hey, let's see what he does, man. I was pretty critical of him when they first made that move for the simple fact of the experience. But the Giants did a pretty good job in putting a lot of experience around him. With Jace Tingler as his bench coach. You got Ron Washington. He's doing infield work, but I'm pretty sure he's probably also helping them with just what it's like to be in the major leagues. And it sounds like he's bringing forth the energy. I keep hearing energy, and that does have a quality in its own, because and that's the thing. How's he going to do over the 162? We'll see. We'll see how it works. It's a little bit different than college. It's a lot longer. The grind, and it's not the physical grind of it, but the mental grind. Because again, it's every single day. You're gonna have to go out there, and if you're a little bit slow mentally, whether it could be fatigue, whatever, it could cost you a game. So it's going to be fun to watch Tony Vitello. It seems like for all the reports I'm hearing, everybody's having a great time in spring training as far as the camaraderie. People are, they said they're a little bit more cohesive. I saw that. Who said that? I can't remember if I read it or I heard it on a broadcast. I think I was on a broadcast last night, that the team seems to be a little bit more cohesive than it was this time last year. And that could only play benefits because, right, you guys are the club is together for 6 months. They probably see each other more than they see their significant others, and that comes with their own obstacles. So if they're all on the same page and Tony's able to lead the way and show that, hey, not only can I lead you in the clubhouse, I can also. You can count on me to be able to go out there and make those right baseball decisions. So we'll see.
Well, the energy is good.
Thank you, Paul. Anybody else who has not asked the question yet of Eric? Eric, I got one question for you. So you work with Glenn Kuiper?
Yeah.
Work with Marty Lurie? You had one dream left. Who are you working with? And where is it?
Oh my gosh. I mean, like I said this on the top, as I didn't expect to even be working with Glenn and Marty. I mean, my gosh. I don't. Hey, how
you want to be in the
John
booth
Miller.
with John Miller?
Oh my God, I can't do that stuff. No, that's
one inning.
That would be something, huh? How about that? And that was great because I was here when you had him in the what was it, a few months ago? That was a fantastic interview too, by the way. That was good stuff. But wouldn't that be something to go in the booth and just being able to sit there and watch him go about his work? Come on. And and that's going to be special to hear both. And I know were you able to hear Glenn Kuiper and John Miller on the radio over the weekend?
Yes.
Oh,
God. John Miller. Yes.
Beautiful. Those two together. And don't get me wrong, I like Flem. He's great, right? David Fleming is awesome. But Glenn Kuiper and John Miller, they were great together. I mean, that's going to be something fun to watch this season too, because Glenn's going to be able to call some games for the Giants over this next season. So that was great to see.
Is he just doing spring training, or is he going to be the backup?
He's going to do regular
announcer?
season.
Wow, that's great.
He's going to be doing regular season games too. So that's going to be awesome.
We have a great voice in here who Dan Taylor should be announcing games. He's fabulous. It's dulcet pipes, two tones, whatever. Dan, stop shaking your head. Your voice is amazing.
And yeah, my partner Glenn, he's got the same thing. His voice is just magical, right? It carries.
Is Glenn going to be on radio or TV?
Radio, I believe. I think it's radio. I don't know if he's going to be on any TV.
So Kuko's still there with home games, right?
I believe so, yeah. If I'm not mistaken.
All right. Why don't we give Eric a great round of applause? Great way to start off our spring training here with Eric.
Thank you.
Don't forget, next week we will it'll be on Tuesday with Roger Munter. You'll get to ask all your questions about the Giant farmhands. Not Farhans, Norm. and then in 2 weeks, we'll have Marty Lurie. So let's all give Eric one more round of applause.
Thank you.
We will see each other next Tuesday. Have a great night, everybody. I'm going to shut off the recording, and if anybody wants to hang for a few minutes, we will do that. Good night, everybody.